It all began on a rainy Tuesday morning. I remember standing in front of the mirror, towel draped over my shoulders, water still dripping from my hair. My eyes looked empty, not from lack of sleep, but from something deeper. A feeling I couldn't quite explain. At 28, I had a decent job, a circle of friends, and no major drama in life, but I felt hollow, like I was living someone else's script. The world told me that being a man meant staying strong, never crying, providing without complaint, and never asking for help. But what if I didn't feel strong all the time? What if some days I doubted my worth, my purpose, or even my ability to lead my own life? That morning, I sent a text to someone I hadn't seen in years. William. He was my dad's old friend, a retired army captain turned life coach. He had this calm presence, like a storm that had weathered itself into peace. We met up for coffee the next day. "So what's bothering you?" he asked without judgment. I hesitated, then I poured it out. The confusion, the numbness, the pressure to meet some unspoken standard of masculinity. William nodded slowly. Most men confuse masculinity with performance, but real masculinity, it starts in the mind. That line stayed with me. He explained something I'd never heard before. Being a man isn't about pretending to be bulletproof. It's about building mental strength, emotional control, and having clarity of purpose. That's where it begins. Then he shared 3 principles that changed everything. Principle 1, discipline over drama. Real strength, William said, isn't loud. It's quiet discipline. At first, I didn't get it. How could something as quiet as making my bed every morning transform my life? William leaned forward and explained it like this. Most people react to life. Discipline trains you to respond. Responding puts you in control. He shared the story of Admiral William McRaven, the Navy SEAL who famously said, "If you want to change the world, start by making your bed." The logic is deeper than the sheets. It's about starting your day with a completed task, no matter how small. A victory, a win. So I tried it. The first morning, it felt pointless. But by the 5th day, something subtle had shifted. Making my bed wasn't about the bed. It was about taking charge. It was a declaration that I had authority over how my day would begin. That one task led to another. Drinking water first thing, stretching for 10 minutes, writing down 3 goals. William called it stacking wins. One small discipline leads to another. Like dominoes, momentum builds. But drama is noisy. It demands attention. It thrives on chaos, blame, and emotional reactivity. William said, drama loves excuses. Discipline loves responsibility. There was a week I fell back into drama. I skipped my morning habits. I hit snooze. I blamed work for my stress. And I snapped at a coworker over something petty. That evening, I realized the shift. I was reacting again, so I started over. I didn't punish myself, I recommitted. That's another thing discipline teaches, consistency over perfection. William taught me a simple framework. Win the first hour, don't touch your phone, make your bed. Hydrate, move your body, set micro goals, 3 clear actions you'll complete by day's end. Track progress, use a simple notebook, wins and setbacks. I learned to respect my word to myself. If I said I'd get up early, I got up early. If I promised to write in my journal, I wrote, even if it was just 1 sentence. Discipline built my confidence, not overnight, but like bricks, one on top of another, quietly but unshakably. Principle 2, emotional control is power. William looked at me one morning over coffee and said, control your emotions, or they'll control you. At the time, that sounded like something out of a self-help book. But as I sat there, stirring my cup, I thought about the times I'd lost my cool, said things I regretted. or bottled up feelings that later exploded at the worst moment. Maybe there was something to it. He handed me a journal. "Start here," he said. "Write down what you feel. Not what you think you should feel, not what others expect, just what's real." At first, I wrote one-word entries. Angry, empty, confused. But over the next few days, those words grew roots. I realized I wasn't just stressed. I was frustrated by the lack of direction in my life. I wasn't just angry. I felt inadequate, jealous, lonely. William introduced me to a powerful idea from Viktor Frankl, the Holocaust survivor and psychiatrist who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. Between stimulus and response, there is a space, he said. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. That space, tiny, almost invisible, became my daily target. To grow that space, William guided me through breathing techniques. 4 seconds in, hold for 4, exhale for 4, hold again. Simple but surprisingly effective. We practiced it before conversations, before meetings, even before workouts. Then we added the next layer, naming emotions in real time. I'm feeling tense right now. I'm feeling defensive. By naming it, I reduced its grip on me. He also had me write a trigger map, a list of situations that often triggered emotional overreaction. Getting interrupted, traffic, criticism, being ignored. For each trigger, I wrote down a more empowering response. Instead of snap, I'd breathe. Instead of withdraw, I'd speak calmly. Of course, I failed. Many times. I remember arguing with my manager after a tough review. My voice rose, my heart pounded. I left the room, humiliated. That night, I sat down with my journal and wrote, "Felt disrespected, reacted too fast, didn't breathe, tomorrow try again." That's when I realized emotional control wasn't about suppression. It was about awareness and choice. Slowly, I started responding with calm where I once reacted with fire. Friends noticed. One even joked, "Dude, did you go to monk school or something?" But it wasn't monk school. It was emotional training. And like any training, it required reps. If you take just one thing from this principle, let it be this. Emotions are signals, not dictators. Listen, learn, then lead yourself. Principle 3. Purpose is the compass. Masculinity without purpose is like a sword with no target, William said. That hit me like a truck. Because if I was honest, I didn't know what my purpose was. I was moving, yes, but like a leaf caught in the wind, drifting, not driving. William handed me a blank sheet of paper. "Draw 3 circles," he said. "In one, write what you love. In another, write what you're good at. In the third, write what the world needs. Where they intersect, that's your compass." It wasn't easy. I sat with that exercise for days. At first, my answers felt generic. Helping others, writing, leadership. But with William's help, I dug deeper. What kind of help? For whom? In what way? I remembered being the guy people came to for advice. Friends, co-workers, even strangers. Not because I had all the answers, but because I listened without judgment. That felt meaningful. So I crafted a simple purpose statement. To build men who lead with strength, softness, and clarity. It didn't sound like much to others, but to me, it felt like coming home. Purpose gave me direction. It influenced how I showed up at work, how I treated my family, how I spent my free time. Suddenly, saying no to distractions became easier because I had a yes to something deeper. But it wasn't perfect. Some days I felt like a fraud. Like who was I to talk about purpose when I was still figuring things out? That's when William reminded me, purpose isn't a destination, it's a direction. I began setting weekly purpose checks. Every Sunday I'd ask, Did I live aligned with my purpose? Did I help someone grow? Did I act with clarity and conviction? Over time, those small check-ins rewired my default settings. I wasn't drifting anymore, I was steering. Not always with precision, but always with intent. Purpose turned the fog into focus. It made my masculinity feel anchored, not performative. That's when I started noticing something powerful. Purpose is magnetic. People feel it. It draws respect, inspires trust, and creates opportunities. And that, William said, is how men change not just themselves, but the world. Masculinity isn't a mask you wear to impress the world. It's a mindset you build brick by brick, with discipline, emotional intelligence, and a compass pointing toward purpose. One historical example William shared still gives me goosebumps: Theodore Roosevelt. As a sickly boy with asthma, he was told he'd never be strong. Instead of accepting that, he trained his body and mind. He became a boxer, an explorer, a president. But what made him a true man wasn't his resume, it was his mind. He once said, "Do what you can, with what you have, where you are." That's the essence of it all. So if you're reading this and feeling lost, like I once did, let me tell you, your masculinity doesn't come from your job title, your car, or your bank account. It starts with how you see yourself, how you respond to struggle, how you rise after falling. Here's how you can start today. 1. Make your bed, win the morning. 2. Journal your emotions, understand your inner world. 3. Define your values, find your compass. 4. Take consistent action, even small steps count. 5. Talk to someone wiser, find your William, the man you want to be. He's already inside you. You just need to start training your mind to let him out. If this story resonated with you, hit that like button, subscribe for more real talk, and share this with someone who needs it. Because real masculinity doesn't come from what you show the world. It comes from what you build in silence. Masculinity starts in the mind, and once it's strong there, everything else follows.